The city of Arden was busy in the early afternoon. Cars honked, people walked fast on the crowded streets, and the sun reflected off the tall glass buildings. In the middle of the city, a small park offered a quiet place for people to rest. Birds chirped softly among the trees, and children played near the fountain. It was peaceful compared to the streets. But even in peace, tension sometimes rose. Amara Davis walked through the park with a calm expression. She had a confident step, but most people passing by only noticed her as another woman in business clothes. She carried a brown leather briefcase and wore a navy blue suit. Her hair was neatly tied back, and her eyes moved with careful attention to everything around her. Amara was used to being underestimated. She had been in the police department for over 15 years. She worked her way up from a patrol officer to the head of investigations, and now she held the title of captain. Most people in her office respected her for her dedication and sharp mind. But outside, the uniform often made people assume things about her. Today, she had come to the park to meet a group of volunteers for a community safety program. As she reached the fountain, Amara noticed a small crowd gathered near the main walkway. A few people were pointing and talking in worried tones. She walked closer to see what was happening. A police officer stood in front of a woman arguing loudly. The officer looked angry and impatient, and the woman seemed calm but firm. Amara recognized the officer immediately. He was a young man named Harris. He had joined the force only a few years ago, and his behavior often reflected inexperience mixed with arrogance. The woman in front of him was holding some papers, probably related to a complaint or report she had filed. Amara could sense tension building. As she approached, she heard the officer speak in a harsh tone. "You can't just stand here and make demands. Move along." The woman didn't flinch. "I have the right to be here. I am following all the rules." "You are not above the law." Amara felt a rush of concern. She knew the officer was not used to being challenged, and she feared he might act without thinking. People in the crowd were starting to whisper and watch closely. Amara took a step forward and spoke clearly. Officer Harris stepped back. "Let her speak." "You need to remain professional." Harris turned quickly, noticing her presence. His face changed slightly, showing surprise. "Captain Davis? What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice a mix of recognition and awkwardness. Amara remained calm. "I am here to make sure everyone is treated fairly. Now lower your voice and explain the situation." Harris hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He tried to regain control, but the woman in front of him looked determined. Amara could see the crowd starting to pay more attention to her. They noticed the way she carried herself, even without her uniform visible under the suit. "Captain," the woman said politely, "I was just reporting an issue with the construction near the playground. The machine started early this morning, and the noise was unsafe for children. I tried talking to the workers, but they ignored me. I called the station, and this officer arrived." Amara nodded. She understood the woman's concern immediately. Protecting children and the community was always a priority. She turned to Harris. "Did you listen to her report carefully?" Harris looked uncomfortable. "Yes, ma'am, but no excuses," Amara said firmly. "You must treat the citizens with respect no matter what. Now write down her concerns and contact the construction supervisor. Make sure the noise is reduced until we have a proper schedule." Harris started to speak, but the woman raised her hand politely. She looked at Amara with a calm smile. "Thank you, Captain Davis," she said. Her tone was respectful but confident. Amara felt a small smile in return. She always appreciated when people stayed calm under pressure. But just as she was about to guide the crowd to disperse, something happened. Harris's frustration showed in a sudden action. He stepped closer to the woman and spoke in a raised voice. "You think you are better than me? Who do you think you are?" Amara's eyes narrowed. She could feel the tension in the air. People in the crowd began murmuring, some stepping back to give space. The woman did not move or show fear. Instead, she slowly reached into her bag and pulled out a small badge. She held it high so everyone could see. "I am Captain Amara Davis of this precinct," she said clearly, her voice steady and strong. "You will treat everyone with respect. You will follow procedure." "Step back now," the crowd gasped. Harris's face went pale. He had no idea she was a captain. He had been rude without realizing the authority of the woman standing before him. For a moment he seemed frozen, unsure of what to do next. Amara took a step forward. "Harris, you are on duty. Follow my instructions immediately. Do not question citizens without proper reason. You will report to me after this interaction." The woman in front of him, now clearly recognized as a superior officer, was calm but firm. People in the crowd watched in awe. Some whispered to each other about how the situation had changed in seconds. The respect she commanded was visible even without yelling or aggression. Harris swallowed hard. "Yes, ma'am," he said quietly. He backed away and started taking notes as Amara had instructed. The crowd relaxed and a few people clapped softly in admiration. Amara turned to the citizens around her. "Thank you for your patience. Your concerns are important and we will address them properly. Everyone here deserves to be safe." The woman who had reported the issue smiled. "I appreciate your help, Captain. I did not expect things to be handled so quickly." Amara nodded. "It is my duty. We all work to keep this city safe. Never forget that your voice matters." The crowd began to disperse, some talking quietly about what they had witnessed. Harris walked away to contact his supervisor, still shaken by the encounter. Amara watched him go, knowing that this moment would teach him a lesson about respect and professionalism. Once the crowd had thinned, Amara approached the woman who had stood calmly during the tense moment. "You handled yourself well," she said. Most people would have reacted with fear or anger. The woman shook her head. "I just wanted to make sure the children were safe. I did not expect anyone to treat me unfairly." Amara smiled. "It happens more than you think. People often judge before they know. You remained calm, and that is why this situation resolved peacefully." Together they walked to a bench near the fountain. Amara handed the woman a pamphlet about the community safety program. "You are welcome to join us. Your experience and attention can help others in this neighborhood." The woman nodded. "I would like that very much." Amara felt a quiet satisfaction. She had always believed that authority was not just about rules and uniforms. It was about fairness, calmness, and the courage to act correctly even when others doubted you. Today had been a small example, but it reminded her why she had chosen this path. As the sun started to move toward the evening, the park seemed more peaceful again. Children ran around. Laughter echoed and the faint sound of traffic continued in the background. Amara looked at the skyline, thinking about the challenges ahead. She knew that every day brought new situations where patience, courage, and respect would be tested. But she also knew that with calm determination, justice and fairness could always prevail. And in that moment, the city of Arden had witnessed a small but powerful lesson. Authority was more than power. It was presence, confidence, and the quiet strength to stand firm when others faltered. The sun hung low in the sky as Amara left the park. She felt the warmth of the late afternoon on her face, but her mind was already turning to the next task. The incident with Officer Harris had reminded her that even small misunderstandings could grow into bigger problems, if not handled carefully. Her phone buzzed in her bag and she pulled it out to see a message from Lieutenant Ramirez. "Captain, we need you at the downtown precinct. There is a situation at the new community center. Please respond immediately." Amara straightened her shoulders and replied, "I'm on my way." She knew that downtown was always busy at this time of day. Traffic could be chaotic, but she moved quickly, navigating through the streets with practiced ease. In her car, she reviewed what she knew about the community center. It had recently opened to provide programs for children and seniors, but construction had been rushed, and there were reports of minor safety concerns. When she arrived, a small crowd had gathered outside the center. Parents held their children close, and some pointed toward the building with worried expressions. A group of volunteers tried to calm everyone, but the tension in the air was clear. Amara stepped out of her car, badge and identification visible to all. The moment she appeared, whispers rippled through the crowd. People recognized her calm authority instantly. Captain Davis, Lieutenant Ramirez, greeted her. He looked anxious, holding a tablet with photos of the interior. "The floor in the main activity room is showing some cracks. I have called the maintenance team, but the parents are concerned and do not want to let the children enter." Amara took the tablet and studied the photos carefully. The cracks were small, but she knew that even minor damage could cause accidents if left unaddressed. She looked at the parents in the crowd, then back at Ramirez. "Has anyone inspected the floor in person?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. Maintenance is on site, but they are waiting for your assessment before allowing the children in." Amara nodded. She turned to the crowd. "Please remain calm. We will ensure the building is safe before any activities continue. Safety is our top priority." A few parents exchanged nervous glances. "Captain," one of them said, "our children were supposed to have their art and music classes today. They are disappointed, but we want them safe." Amara smiled softly. "I understand. We will resolve this quickly. I promise you that." She walked into the community center with Ramirez close behind. The room smelled faintly of paint and wood polish. The sunlight from the large windows reflected off the polished floor, and she could see the thin cracks clearly. Kneeling down, she inspected the damage with a careful eye. "These cracks are superficial," she said finally. "They are not a danger if we manage the area carefully. However, I want the maintenance team to mark the spots and place warning signs. We will limit activity near those areas until they are fully repaired." Ramirez nodded. "Understood, Captain. I will instruct them immediately." Amara stood and turned toward the volunteers and parents watching through the doorway. "Thank you for your patience. We will ensure that your children can enjoy their activities safely. Safety and care always come first." The parents relaxed slightly and some even smiled. Amara could feel the trust building. Leadership was not only about giving orders. It was about inspiring confidence. Just as she was about to leave the room, a young boy ran toward her. He was carrying a small soccer ball and looked worried. "Captain Davis," he said, "my friend fell last week on the playground. Will it be safe today?" Amara knelt to his level. "We are making sure everything is safe for you and your friends. The playground will be checked and you can play safely. Promise." The boy nodded, reassured, and ran back to his group. Amara stood and looked around the room, feeling satisfied that immediate danger had been managed. But she knew the day was not over. Downtown was full of challenges, and she had already learned that tension often arose where people felt ignored or unsafe. She stepped outside, noticing that the crowd had grown. News spreads quickly when there is concern for children, and soon a few reporters arrived, cameras and microphones ready. One reporter approached quickly. "Captain Davis, can you comment on the situation here?" Some parents were worried about safety at the new community center. Amara smiled politely, her voice calm and authoritative. "Safety is always our priority. We are taking every necessary step to ensure that children and visitors can enjoy the center without concern. The minor damage has been addressed and precautions are in place. Our staff and volunteers are trained to manage situations like this. Everyone can feel confident that we are working responsibly." The reporter nodded, satisfied with her answer. Amara noticed the cameras filming quietly now. She knew that being clear and confident was important. Public trust depended on honesty and calm action. Just as she was about to leave for her next assignment, a man ran up to her. He was wearing a delivery uniform and looked frantic. "Captain Davis! My truck just blocked the fire lane and someone called the station. I didn't mean any trouble. Can you help?" Amara listened carefully. "Where is your truck now?" "Just over there," he said, pointing. "I needed to deliver supplies for the community center." Amara walked with him, assessing the situation. The truck was blocking access, but it was clear that the man was responsible and cooperative. "We will help you move it safely. Next time, please follow delivery regulations to avoid any issues. You are not in trouble, but safety must always come first." The man bowed slightly. "Thank you, Captain Davis. I will be careful." Amara watched him drive away safely and return to the community center. She realized that small actions, small instructions, and small reminders could prevent larger problems. It was part of her job to notice these details and act before situations escalated. Later, in the late afternoon, Amara gathered the volunteers and staff. They sat on benches near the fountain, discussing the day's events. She wanted to make sure everyone felt included and understood the importance of their roles. "Leadership is not about telling people what to do," she said. "It is about listening, observing, and guiding. Every person here is important. Volunteers, staff, parents, and children. You all play a role in making this community safe. When we work together, we prevent accidents and build trust." One volunteer raised a question. "Captain, how do you stay calm when people act aggressively or ignore rules?" Amara looked at her carefully. "Calmness comes from preparation and understanding. When you know your responsibilities and your priorities, you do not react impulsively. You make decisions based on reason, not emotion. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the control of fear." The volunteers nodded, taking in her words. Amara felt proud to see the way her guidance influenced others. Leadership was not only her duty, but her way of helping people feel empowered and safe. As the evening approached, the sun dipped behind the tall buildings, casting long shadows on the streets of Arden. Amara stood looking at the skyline. There was still work to do, more challenges to face, but she felt prepared. Today had tested her patience, her authority, and her ability to manage public tension. She had done so without raising her voice or showing anger, and the results spoke for themselves. She gathered her briefcase and prepared to leave, but then she noticed a group of children waiting by the fountain. They waved at her, some holding small drawings they had made during their activities. Amara smiled and waved back. She knelt down to receive one of the drawings. It was a picture of the park with the fountain and trees and a small figure in the middle wearing a blue suit. "Is this me?" she asked gently. "Yes," a small girl said. "You helped us today, Captain Davis. You made sure we were safe." Amara's heart warmed. "Thank you for this. Remember, always look out for each other. Safety and care are everyone's responsibility." The children waved goodbye as they ran back to their parents. Amara stood feeling the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. Leadership was not about titles or authority alone. It was about respect, calm action, and the ability to inspire others to do the right thing. As she walked toward her car, she thought about the upcoming challenges in Arden. There would be more tense situations, more people in need of guidance, and more opportunities to make a difference. But she felt ready. She knew that calm determination, fairness, and clear thinking could turn any difficult situation into an opportunity for trust and safety. And so, as the city lights began to glow, Amara Davis continued her work quietly, firmly, and with the knowledge that every action she took helped shape a safer, stronger community. The next morning, the city of Arden was alive with activity. Street vendors called out to passers-by, buses rumbled along the avenues, and the hum of traffic filled the air. Amara Davis started her day early as usual. She arrived at the precinct just as the morning briefing was beginning. Officers were gathered, checking reports and preparing for their daily assignments. Captain Davis stood at the front of the room. Her presence commanded attention without the need for loud voices. The officers straightened, knowing she expected focus and professionalism. Amara always began meetings with reminders of their priorities: safety, fairness, and teamwork. "Good morning," she began. "Today we have several community checks, safety inspections, and routine patrols. Remember that your actions represent our precinct. Every citizen deserves respect, even in challenging situations." She paused, scanning the room. "We also have a report from the Northern District about a series of complaints near the old warehouse district. Citizens are concerned about safety during late hours. Officer Mitchell and Officer Rivera, you will lead the investigation. Report back to me by noon." The officers nodded. Amara knew that most challenges were not dramatic emergencies, but small, persistent problems that could escalate if ignored. She believed in addressing them proactively. After the briefing, Amara made her way to the Northern District. The streets were narrower here, with old brick buildings and warehouses lining the roads. Some buildings had graffiti, and broken windows suggested neglect. A few pedestrians hurried along, clearly uncomfortable in the area. Amara parked her car and stepped out. She noticed Officer Mitchell waiting nearby, clipboard in hand, and Officer Rivera inspecting the area with a flashlight. "Captain Davis," Mitchell said, "we've received reports of suspicious activity in the warehouses. People say they see strangers loitering at night, but no crimes have been confirmed yet." Amara nodded. "Thank you. We need to observe carefully, document everything, and approach situations with caution. Safety for officers and citizens comes first. Let's start by walking through the area and speaking with nearby businesses." They moved down the street, knocking on doors and speaking with business owners. Most were cooperative but clearly anxious. A small bakery owner named Mrs. Alvarez spoke first. "Good morning, Captain," she said politely. "I've seen people hanging around the corner at night. Sometimes they argue, but I don't know if they're dangerous. I'm worried about my staff and customers." Amara listened closely. "Thank you for letting us know, Mrs. Alvarez. We will keep an eye on the area and ensure your business is safe." "Can you tell me more about when these people appear?" "They come late after 10, she explained. "Mostly on weekends. I close at 9, so I don't see much, but my neighbors have noticed." Amara made a note and moved to the next building. She spoke with a small group of shopkeepers and a janitor who cleaned the streets at night. Each shared similar stories: people loitering, loud arguments, occasional vandalism. Nothing life-threatening yet, but enough to cause concern. As they walked, Amara noticed a narrow alley partially hidden between two warehouses. The shadows seemed darker here, and she could sense that it might be a place where trouble could start if left unchecked. "This alley needs better lighting and a security check," she said calmly. "We'll schedule additional patrols at night, and the city maintenance team can add lights and cameras. Prevention is better than reaction." Mitchell nodded. "Understood, Captain." They continued, documenting everything and speaking with more citizens. While walking, Amara kept an eye on the surroundings. Even small details mattered: a loose shutter, a broken fence, discarded bottles. She reminded herself that safety came from both immediate action and planning for the future. After several hours, they returned to the precinct to review their findings. Amara called the Northern District team together. "Our observations confirm the concerns," she said. "No immediate crime is confirmed, but the area is unsafe during late hours. We will take the following steps: increased patrols, better lighting, installation of cameras, and regular checks with local businesses. Officer Mitchell, you will coordinate with maintenance. Officer Rivera, you will handle patrol scheduling." She looked around at the team. "Everyone else, continue community engagement. Speak with residents and business owners. Listen carefully, take notes, and respond with fairness. Remember that calm professionalism inspires trust." Her officers nodded, motivated by her clear instructions. Amara's leadership style was simple but effective: clarity, fairness, and calm authority. She believed that respect came from action, not words alone. Later in the day, as Amara walked through the precinct hallways, a young officer approached her nervously. "Captain Davis," he said, "there's a report about a dispute near the Central Market. People are arguing loudly, but no one is hurt yet. I thought you should know before we send a team." Amara smiled gently. "Thank you for telling me. Let's go together and assess the situation. Calm observation is better than rushed action." They arrived at the Central Market quickly. A small crowd had gathered, forming a circle around two men arguing near a food stall. The argument was loud, but no physical contact had occurred. Citizens were watching, some concerned, some curious. Amara stepped forward and spoke in a calm, firm voice. "Gentlemen, please step back and lower your voices. We are here to listen and resolve the issue peacefully." The men stopped briefly, surprised by her presence. Amara could see their tension, but she also noticed that they respected authority when it was calm and confident. One man, tall and muscular, spoke first. "This is my spot for vending. He shouldn't be here." The other man, shorter and wearing an apron, replied, "I have the license too. I have the right to sell here." Amara raised a hand. "We will check the permits, but we will not allow shouting or threats. Both of you have rights and both of you have responsibilities. Let's speak calmly and find a solution." She guided them to the side, asking them to show their permits. Within minutes, it became clear that the smaller man had the correct license, but the other had been confused by changes in the market layout. "Thank you for cooperating," she said. "Mistakes happen, but we can solve them without arguing. Gentlemen, you are both responsible citizens. Respect each other and the rules. That is how trust and safety are maintained." The men nodded, somewhat embarrassed but relieved. The crowd dispersed, some quietly complimenting Amara for her calm handling of the dispute. As the sun began to set, Amara returned to the precinct. The day had been long but productive. She had handled multiple situations, ensured public safety, and guided her team in the correct approach. She reviewed her notes and prepared reports for city officials. Later that evening, she received a call from a local school principal. "Captain Davis, we need your advice. A group of students is having conflicts during after-school activities. It's minor now, but we want to prevent bigger problems." Amara smiled. "Thank you for calling. I will visit tomorrow morning and work with your staff and students. Early intervention is always better than waiting for trouble." She ended the call and looked out the precinct window at the glowing city. Arden was full of challenges, big and small, but she knew that patience, fairness, and calm action could turn any situation into an opportunity to build trust. Amara Davis had spent years learning that leadership was not about reacting with anger or force. It was about observation, careful planning, and guiding others toward safety and respect. She knew that each day would test her skills in new ways, but she also knew she was ready. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Ramirez. "Good work today, Captain. The Northern District patrols and market intervention were noted. Citizens are impressed with your leadership." Amara felt a quiet satisfaction. Recognition was not her goal. but knowing that the community felt safer was rewarding. She packed her briefcase and prepared to leave for the night, confident that her actions had made a difference. As she walked to her car, a young girl ran up to her, holding a small notebook. "Captain Davis," the girl said shyly, "thank you for helping my parents at the market. You made everything calm again." Amara knelt down and took the notebook. Inside were sketches of the city streets and people helping each other. "Thank you," she said. "Remember, helping each other is what makes a community strong. You can be a leader too in your own way." The girl smiled brightly and ran back to her family. Amara watched her go, feeling the importance of small lessons and daily efforts. Every action mattered, no matter how small. The city of Arden had faced another day of challenges, but thanks to calm leadership and careful attention, safety and trust had been strengthened. Amara Davis knew that tomorrow would bring more work, more decisions, and more opportunities to guide others with fairness and courage. And she was ready. The next day, Amara Davis arrived at the precinct early, as she always did. The morning air was crisp, and the streets of Arden were just beginning to fill with traffic. She could feel the energy of the city, full of movement and life, but also aware that new challenges could arise at any moment. She entered the briefing room where officers were already gathered preparing for the day ahead. "Good morning," Amara began, her voice calm but firm. "Today we have multiple community visits, inspections, and a few urgent reports that need attention. Please focus on safety, fairness, and teamwork. Remember, each decision you make affects the trust the public places in us." Lieutenant Ramirez spoke up. "Captain, there is a situation at the Riverfront District. A few citizens reported that a group of teenagers is climbing on the old bridge, and some fear that it could be dangerous." Amara nodded, her expression serious. "Thank you, Ramirez. Officer Daniels and Officer Lee, you will lead the patrol. I will go with you to assess the situation personally." The Riverfront District was quieter than downtown, with fewer people but larger open spaces. Amara's car drove along the edge of the river, and she could see the bridge in the distance. It was old, its iron beams rusting in spots, but it was still sturdy. Still, the concern was valid. Even a small misstep could result in an accident. As they approached the bridge, Amara noticed a small group of teenagers laughing and moving along the beams. One of them had a backpack and another held a small skateboard. Amara could sense that they were unaware of the real danger of their actions. She stepped out of the car and called to them in a calm, clear voice. "Hello, everyone. Please come down from the bridge. It is not safe to be up there." The teenagers paused, surprised to see her. Most were unsure who she was, but her confident posture and clear voice made them pay attention. One of them, a taller boy with curly hair, spoke first. "Who are you?" "Mind your own business." Amara smiled gently but firmly. "I am Captain Amara Davis. My job is to make sure everyone is safe. You may think this is harmless, but accidents can happen quickly. Come down and we can talk safely." Some of the teenagers hesitated while others began to climb down slowly. Amara walked toward the bridge, keeping a calm and approachable demeanor. She could see that a few were nervous but curious about her presence. "You don't have to be afraid," she said. "I am not here to punish you. I just want to make sure you leave this area safely. Once you are down, we can talk about safe activities and places where you can play and practice tricks without danger." The taller boy finally stepped down and approached her. "Okay, Captain, but we were just having fun. We didn't mean to cause trouble," Amara nodded. "I understand. Fun is important, but safety is also important. There are safer places for you to enjoy yourselves. I can help you find them." As the last teenager climbed down, one of them asked, "Are you really a captain?" Amara showed her badge calmly. "Yes, my job is to ensure the safety of everyone in this city. That includes helping you stay out of danger." The teenagers looked impressed. Some whispered to each other, and the atmosphere shifted from tension to respect. Amara could see that they were beginning to understand the seriousness of the situation without fear or anger. After ensuring that everyone was safely off the bridge, Amara suggested they gather at a nearby park. "Let's talk about safe places for your activities," she said. "You can still have fun, but without putting yourselves at risk." The teenagers followed her, listening as she explained the rules and options for recreation. She pointed out skate parks, basketball courts, and open areas where they could practice safely. She even offered to organize a supervised event where they could demonstrate tricks in a safe environment. One girl, holding a skateboard carefully, looked at Amara and asked, "You really care about us?" Amara smiled warmly. "I care about everyone in this city. You are part of our community. Staying safe and respecting rules doesn't mean you cannot enjoy life. It means you can enjoy life without getting hurt." The teenagers nodded, slowly realizing that rules were not meant to punish but to protect. Amara felt satisfied with the outcome. Teaching responsibility and safety was as important as enforcing rules. Once the group dispersed, Amara returned to her car and drove back toward the precinct. She thought about the morning's events and realized that leadership was often about guiding people before problems became serious. Prevention required patience, observation, and clear communication. Back at the precinct, Lieutenant Ramirez approached her. "Captain, there's another report. This time it's a disagreement at the city library. 2 staff members are arguing about schedules and it is affecting visitors." Amara nodded. "Thank you, Ramirez. Let's go immediately. Even small conflicts can grow if not addressed quickly." The library was quiet with tall shelves filled with books. Visitors looked uncomfortable as the staff argued near the circulation desk. Amara stepped in and spoke softly but with authority. "Please, everyone, take a moment to breathe. We are here to resolve this calmly." The staff members looked at her, realizing that she was not a person to ignore. One librarian spoke first. "Captain Davis, we cannot agree on the new schedule." "It is unfair." Amara listened carefully. "I understand your concerns. Let's review the schedule together and find a solution that works for everyone. The goal is to make the library functional for staff and visitors alike." She guided them through the schedule, asking questions and offering solutions. Slowly, the tension eased. Both staff members agreed to adjust certain hours, and Amara praised their cooperation. "Conflict is normal," she said gently, "but how you handle it shows your respect for others. Thank you for listening and finding a solution." Visitors returned to browsing, and the library felt calm again. Amara knew that even small victories mattered. Every moment of conflict resolved peacefully built trust and set an example for others. As the afternoon passed, Amara continued her rounds. She visited a local clinic, checked in with officers on patrol, and followed up on reports from the previous days. Each interaction reminded her that leadership was not about power or control. It was about presence, guidance, and understanding. In the late afternoon, Amara received an urgent message. A fire alarm had gone off at a residential building near the river. Citizens were evacuating and a small crowd had gathered. Amara rushed to the scene, arriving quickly. Smoke was visible from one of the upper floors, but it appeared contained to a single apartment. She coordinated with firefighters, ensuring that citizens stayed at a safe distance. Her calm authority helped people remain composed. Parents held their children tightly, but no one panicked. Amara directed officers to assist with crowd control and to help those needing support. The firefighters worked efficiently, and the smoke was cleared within minutes. Amara checked with residents to ensure no one was hurt. "Thank you for remaining calm," she said to the gathered crowd. Safety is the result of calm actions and clear instructions. As the evening approached, Amara returned to the precinct. Her day had been long, filled with multiple incidents, conflicts, and challenges, yet each situation had been resolved without harm. She reviewed reports, made notes, and prepared for the next day. Before leaving, she received a call from a local school principal. "Captain Davis, thank you for your guidance. The students at our school are learning responsibility and respect because of your advice yesterday." Amara smiled. "It is important to guide and listen. I am happy to help. Please continue to support them, and remember that patience and calm action make a difference every day." She ended the call and looked out at the city skyline. The sun had set, and the lights of Arden twinkled across the buildings. The streets were calmer now, but the city would continue to need careful attention, fairness, and leadership. Amara Davis gathered her belongings and left the precinct. She had spent the day teaching, guiding, and protecting. She had faced challenges, conflicts, and potential danger, yet she remained calm, fair, and focused. The city was safer because of her presence, and the citizens trusted her leadership. Walking toward her car, she saw a small group of children waving at her from a distance. Some were holding drawings and others waved excitedly. Amara waved back, thinking that even small interactions like these reminded her why she continued her work. Every moment mattered. Every action made a difference. As she drove home, the streets of Arden reflected the glow of the evening lights. Amara Davis knew that the city would always face new challenges, but she was ready. Calm, fair, and confident, she would continue to guide, protect, and inspire those around her. And in every quiet decision, in every calm action, she knew that leadership was about more than authority. It was about presence, respect, and the courage to act wisely, even when others doubted or underestimated her. The morning sun rose over Arden, casting a warm glow on the city streets. Amara Davis arrived at the precinct earlier than usual. The events of the past days had tested her patience, leadership, and problem-solving skills. Today, she knew, would bring new challenges. She carried her briefcase, walked with confidence, and greeted officers quietly as she entered. "Captain Davis," Lieutenant Ramirez said, "there are multiple reports from the East Side District. Residents are concerned about a large group of people gathering in the park. Some fear accidents may happen if things get out of control." Amara nodded. "Thank you for the information. Officer Lee and Officer Daniels accompany me. The goal is to ensure safety and calm. Let's handle this carefully and respectfully." The East Side Park was busy for a weekend morning. Families were walking along the paths. Children ran across the green lawns, and vendors set up their stalls for the day. In one corner, a large group had gathered, talking loudly and moving in a way that seemed chaotic. Some residents watched nervously from a distance. Amara approached slowly, keeping her voice calm but firm. "Hello, everyone. I am Captain Amara Davis. I am here to make sure everyone is safe. Please stay in your area, and we can talk about any concerns you have." The crowd paused, noticing her presence. Amara's reputation had begun to spread across the city. Even without her uniform, people recognized her calm authority. One man stepped forward. "We are just enjoying the morning. We did not mean to cause trouble." Amara nodded. "I understand. Enjoying time together is good, but safety must come first. Let's organize the group so that no one gets hurt and everyone can enjoy the park." With gentle guidance, she helped them spread out, creating safe space for families and children to continue their activities. She smiled and encouraged the group to play games that were safe and friendly. By the time she finished, the park was orderly, and the crowd seemed grateful for her calm direction. After ensuring the park was safe, Amara received a call from the city's emergency coordinator. "Captain Davis, we have a situation at the Riverside Community Center. A small fire broke out in the kitchen, but it has been contained. Some residents are panicking, and we need help managing the crowd." Amara moved quickly, her team following closely. Upon arrival, the scene was tense. Smoke lingered in the air, though the fire was fully extinguished. Residents gathered outside, worried for their safety. Volunteers tried to calm everyone, but their voices were small against the nervous chatter. Amara stepped forward and addressed the crowd. "Everyone, please remain calm. The fire has been controlled and no one is injured. Follow the instructions of the volunteers and officers on site. Your safety is our priority." The crowd listened. Some parents held children close, but there was no panic. Amara directed volunteers to provide blankets and water for residents, and officers to guide people away from potentially dangerous areas. She moved among the crowd, speaking softly to calm nerves and reassure anxious citizens. A young woman approached her, looking relieved. "Captain Davis, thank you for coming. We were worried something worse might happen." Amara smiled gently. "That is why we are here. Calm action and clear communication prevent accidents and help everyone stay safe. You all did well by remaining patient." After the Riverside situation, Amara returned to the precinct briefly to check messages and review reports. She knew that leadership required both action in the field and attention to planning and coordination. Her officers looked to her for guidance, and she provided it clearly and fairly. Later in the afternoon, she received a call about an ongoing dispute between two small business owners on Main Street. Both claimed rights to the same sidewalk area for tables. The argument had grown heated, and neighbors were concerned about potential conflict. Amara arrived on the scene quickly. She observed the situation, noting the tension in both parties. "Hello," she said calmly. "I am Captain Amara Davis. Let's take a few moments to talk and find a solution that works for everyone." Both business owners looked at her, surprised but willing to listen. She asked them to explain their concerns one at a time. The taller owner spoke first, clearly frustrated. "I have had tables here for years. I pay fees to the city. Why can't I continue?" The shorter owner replied, "I recently expanded my cafe and the city gave me permission for extra tables. I don't want to argue, but I also have rights." Amara nodded. Both of you have rights and both of you have responsibilities. Public space must be shared fairly and safely. Here is a suggestion. Alternate tables during peak hours and ensure enough space for pedestrians. This way, both businesses benefit, and the sidewalk remains safe for everyone. After a short discussion, both owners agreed. Amara smiled. Thank you for cooperating. Respecting each other and following rules prevents conflict. You are setting a good example for your staff and customers. By evening, Amara returned to the precinct. Her day had been long, filled with multiple incidents, but each situation had been resolved with calm authority. She took a moment to review notes from the past week. Each small success built trust with the community. Each interaction, no matter how minor, contributed to a safer city. Just as she was about to leave, her phone rang again. This time it was a call from the city mayor. Captain Davis, we want to recognize your service. The community is talking about your leadership, calm handling of incidents, and ability to guide people safely. We would like to hold a ceremony to honor your work. Amara paused, surprised but pleased. Thank you, Mayor. I am honored, but my focus is on helping people stay safe every day. Recognition is secondary to the work itself. The mayor smiled through the phone. We understand. But it is important that the public knows who contributes so much to their safety. We hope you will attend, Amara agreed politely. She hung up and took a moment to reflect. Leadership was not about awards or recognition. It was about quiet actions that made a difference, about patience, fairness, and calm decisions that affected lives in real ways. Later, as she walked toward her car, she noticed a group of children playing near the precinct. Some waved excitedly, others held drawings. Amara smiled and waved back, kneeling to receive a small picture from a girl. It showed the city skyline, the park, and a figure standing tall in a blue suit, guiding people with care. This is you, the girl said shyly. Amara looked at the drawing, warmth filling her heart. Thank you. Remember, every person can make a difference in their community. You don't need a title to act with care and respect. The children waved goodbye and ran back to their parents. Amara stood, watching them. She thought about the week she had spent guiding citizens, solving conflicts, and ensuring safety. Every challenge had been an opportunity to teach, to inspire, and to lead calmly. As night fell, the streets of Arden glowed with lights, reflecting on the rivers and buildings. The city was alive, busy, but safer and more peaceful, thanks to careful leadership and calm decision-making. Amara Davis knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she felt ready. She had learned that authority was not about fear or power. It was about presence, respect, fairness, and the courage to act wisely. Before leaving, she checked in with her team one last time. Good work today, she said. Each of you contributed to the safety and trust of our community. Remember, patience and calm action are stronger than anger or force. Keep this in mind for every situation, big or small. The officers nodded, inspired by her words. They knew that her example guided not only the city, but also their own approach to leadership and responsibility. Amara stepped outside, breathing in the cool evening air. She glanced at the city skyline, feeling a quiet pride. Arden was a city of challenges, but it was also a city of people willing to work together. Leadership was not about commands alone. It was about guidance, calm authority, fairness, and building trust. As she drove home, Amara reflected on the week. From small disputes to potentially dangerous situations, from the park to the community center, she had faced every challenge with the same principle: act calmly, fairly, and with patience. Every action mattered. Every decision had an impact. And as the city of Arden continued its evening rhythm, the citizens could rest knowing that leaders like Amara Davis were watching, guiding and protecting, quietly making their community a safer, stronger, and better place.